Okay, hello everybody. So I hope you all are preparing well for your board exams. So we will have a quick discussion of some important points related to each topic of term 1 syllabus, right? And you can focus more on those subtopics from each chapter. Let us look at the syllabus of term 1. Okay. So this is the syllabus, and you can also see the weightage. Now these are the chapters, so I'll talk about the first chapter, solid state. Now what are the important things that we can expect from solid state? Okay, so solid state has certain theoretical concepts, right? Some important definitions related to the types of solids and some properties of the types of solids. You are supposed to know some examples of each type of solid, right? You have different types of solids, ionic solids, covalent solids, all those types. Ensure that you remember at least 2 examples from each type, right? Because sometimes I ask you, which of these is an example of amorphous solid? Which of these is an example of, let's say, covalent solid? Such kinds of questions are common. In addition to solids, types of solids, you should also know the different formulae related to the types of unit cells, because there you have major 3 types, yeah, right? SC, BCC and FCC. SC, BCC, FCC, all these 3 are very important. A question can be asked from any of these. Packing fraction of every type should be known. That is, again I repeat, SC, BCC, FCC. Packing fraction, then percentage of void, right? They can also ask you what is the percentage of void space. So just ensure that you tick that. Read the question properly. Sometimes you are in a hurry and you just read it, in this way. You expect that the examiner is asking you for only the percentage of, that is the packing fraction or the percentage efficiency. But it could be that they are asking you for the percentage of void space. So just read the question carefully. In addition to the percentages of void space and percentages of packing, also you should know the density, the formula to calculate density of a unit cell. That is a very common type of question asked from this chapter. But then that will involve calculation. So do the calculation properly. Use the appropriate units, because you have the formula for density there. Take care of the units. If you are in a hurry, you may go wrong in the units, right? Okay, so after that you have the types of defects, point defects. Again, one example of each solid showing a particular type of defect should be known to you. So these are the main subtopics of solid state. Focus on these. And last but not the least, also they can ask you CCP, that is cubic closed packing, and HCP. So what are the different types of packing? And in 2D and 3D, the diagrams, have a look at the diagrams given in the NCERT textbook, 2D packing and 3D packing, right? That will serve the purpose. So these are the major things to be highlighted from solid state. Okay, let's go to the next chapter, that is solutions. Now, solutions is actually a combination of solutions and colligative properties. In solutions, you have normality, molarity, molality. Often people tend to get confused, but don't ignore this. Although these have been done in 11th standard, but a question could be asked from molarity or molality in 12th standard board exam as well, right? So don't ignore that part. Again, take care of the appropriate units. In molarity, it's moles per liter, right? Molality is moles per kilogram. And again, normality is gram equivalents per liter, so take care of those things, right? Common acids and bases are asked, like sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, very common, which are acids and bases. And also some types of salts could be asked, like potassium chloride, ammonium chloride, potassium sulfate, magnesium chloride. So some basic acids, bases and salts should be known to you. I am telling this because you have to focus on the gram equivalents when you're talking about normality, in case you have been asked to calculate the normality of a particular solution containing a salt. So in that case, ensure that you know what type of salt it is, what is the cation of the salt, and what is the N factor of the salt, right? All right. Now, in addition to the concentration terms which I just now told, you also need to know the other types of formulae. If I talk about the formulae, then you have Raoult's law, right? Raoult's law is there. Raoult's law is very, very important from this chapter, extremely important. Ensure that you know at least the formula, and after that you should know how to solve a sum, because a sum could be asked from Raoult's law. Again, people go wrong at times in calculations, take care of that part. If you have, let's say, 2 or 3 sums in the paper, you can do one thing, you can finish all the remaining questions first, and then you can keep time for the sums at the end. It's just as per your convenience. So just see the difficulty level of questions, the numericals, and then you can decide whether to approach the numericals first or you want to do the theoretical questions first. Okay, then coming to the colligative properties. Okay, one more thing before the colligative properties, you should also know the solubility of gases and liquids. That means the Henry's law, right? What happens to the Henry's constant when temperature increases, and basic parameters affecting the solubility of a gas in a liquid. Okay, now coming to colligative properties. Colligative properties are also very important because numericals can be asked from colligative properties. As you know, there are 4 colligative properties. All those 4 have to be equally studied, right? You have to be focused on all 4. Don't ignore osmotic pressure, right? And also do not ignore depression in freezing point. Usually students are thorough with elevation in boiling point and relative lowering of vapor pressure, but they are not very thorough with depression in freezing point and osmotic pressure. So just take care of that part. And as you know, in osmotic pressure formula, it is molarity, that is the C term that you use, that is pi is equal to CRT. There C is molarity, that is moles per liter, right? Whereas in elevation in boiling point, that is delta TB, and for depression in freezing point, that is delta TF, it is molality, right? Small m. So just ensure that you don't make any mistake in that, right? So these are the important points from solutions and colligative properties. Let's move on to the next chapter. Now, P block elements. P block elements is lengthy, it is theoretical. You don't expect any numerical from this chapter. And I recommend that you write down the reactions and practice, because it's difficult to memorize reactions if you just study from the textbook. Please write down all those reactions which are there in NCERT. Right, and one more thing is that after you write a reaction, you need to balance it. Whether they mention in the question or not, it is necessary for you to know the balanced chemical equation. Although it's an MCQ based paper, still you should know, because if they ask you, if they give you a reaction, let's say they give you a reaction from P block and it is not balanced, and then they ask you what are the coefficients of this reactant and the other product, let's say. Just taking a random example. In that case, you should know the coefficients as well. So unless you balance a reaction, you will not get the proper feel of an inorganic reaction, because all inorganic reactions are supposed to be balanced. Now, you have group 15, group 16, group 17 and group 18. Focus more on group 15 and group 16. Most of the reactions are based on group 15 and group 16, talking about the NCERT level stuff. Okay, so be thorough with group 15 and group 16, and after that you can focus on group 17 and group 18. So your major focus should be on group 15 and group 16, right? Okay, now we can go to the next chapter, that is haloalkanes and haloarenes. Now again, that is a chapter of organic, right? Now in organic, some things are to be kept in mind, whether it is this chapter or any other chapter. The point here is that you should be thorough with the structures, right? Whether a carbon is sp3 hybridized or sp2 hybridized or sp hybridized, take care of that. It will be easier for you to correlate if you have this knowledge of hybridization of the carbon atoms. And ensure that you know the structures of the aromatic compounds, because in haloarenes you have aromatic structures, correct? Okay, now I recommend again that you write and practice the reactions. If you don't write and practice, you will probably not be able to retain so easily. It's easier to retain the reactions if you write and practice, because in NCERT level exams we don't expect students to know the mechanism for each and every reaction, but you should know the final products. So even if you don't know the mechanism, it's okay, but you should know the final product, you should know how to write the product. And yes, another very important thing, In all reactions of organic chemistry, you must know the name of the product being formed and also the name of the reactant, or rather I should say the names of all the reactants that have taken part in a particular reaction. Do not forget to know the name or to see what the name of the product is. Even if a particular name is not mentioned in the textbook, you should know the name of the product. IUPAC name of the product is mandatory for a student because sometimes they just give you the name instead of giving you the structure. So unless you know the name, you won't be able to correlate what reaction it is, right? So be thorough with all the names of products that are being formed in the reactions. Now be thorough with the preparation methods of haloarenes and haloalkanes, especially when we are dealing with SN2 and SN1 reactions. Focus on Finkelstein reactions, Schwarz reactions. Sometimes you ignore these two, but focus on these two, right? And you should know what all reactions are shown by haloarenes. Mainly electrophilic aromatic substitution is asked. So what are the electrophilic aromatic substitution reactions? Those are mainly what? Nitration, bromination, chlorination, sulfonation and alkylation. So these are extremely important. Focus on these because electrophilic aromatic substitution is a major component of haloarenes if I talk about the reactions shown by haloarenes, right? And also there is a small portion of haloarenes that deals with the nucleophilic aromatic substitution. There also you should know there are only 3 or 4 reactions for nucleophilic aromatic substitution given in the textbook. Just go through them, and temperature and pressure conditions are also mentioned in the nucleophilic aromatic substitution reactions. Do not forget to memorize the temperature and pressure values which are given in NCERT. Okay, moving on to the next, that is alcohols, phenols and ethers. Again an extremely important topic. So alcohols, phenols, ethers has actually 3 components as the name suggests. The first component is alcohols, the second component of the chapter deals with phenol and substituted phenols, and the last part of the chapter deals with ethers. So I will touch upon each of these briefly. In alcohols you have preparation methods, right? Most of the preparation methods have been done in 11th standard, but then again just go through them because they are from alkenes. Like if you have hydration of alkenes, then you have oxymercuration, demercuration, you have hydroboration, oxidation. Just ensure that you know where Markovnikov rule is followed, where anti-Markovnikov rule is followed. Coming to the reactions shown by alcohols, right? Dehydration of alcohols is the most important part if I talk about reactions of alcohols. So dehydration should be very clear to you. They can also ask you which alcohol is more susceptible to dehydration, or rather which alcohol is the most reactive in the dehydration reaction. So dehydration needs to be thoroughly studied, right? Okay, then we can go to the phenols. Now in phenol again there are some important preparation techniques which you must remember, especially talking about the cumene process, that is when phenol is prepared from cumene. What are the steps happening there? You should know, although as I said you don't need to know the mechanism, but you must know what are the reagents used and what is formed initially and what is formed at the end, right? So phenol is also important. Preparation of phenol, as I said, is asked sometimes in the form of like which of the following is used to prepare phenol. In this way they can ask a question, or they can ask which of the following will give phenol as a major product. So just ensure that you know all the methods of preparation given in the textbook. Cumene process is very important, don't ignore that. Okay, then reactions of phenols. There are only a few reactions of phenols given, right? Bromination of phenol, that you have to know. Which condition is suitable for giving mono substitution, which condition is suitable for giving tri substitution, that is extremely important because sometimes they directly ask you like this: if phenol is treated with bromine water, then what is the product formed? And in a hurry, if you don't notice that word bromine water, you may go wrong because you may give your answer as maybe a mono substituted product, it is ortho substituted phenol or para bromo substituted phenol. Then that will be a wrong answer, right? So read the question properly, because in phenol, during bromination of phenol, there are 2 cases. So see what reagent they have used in the question, right? Then electrophilic aromatic substitution you have in phenols and ethers, right? So ensure that you have gone through the reactions. Then coming to ethers. In ethers, the main part that deals with the preparation of ethers is Williamson synthesis. Again, that's an SN2 reaction, so ensure that you have understood that properly. Which reaction will produce an ether through Williamson synthesis? Which reaction will not produce an ether through Williamson synthesis? Right? Such questions may be asked. Because if you see in NCERT, there is one reaction given where they have clearly mentioned that the following reaction is not a suitable reaction for preparing an ether by Williamson synthesis, because elimination takes place because the alkyl halide is a tertiary alkyl halide. So ensure that those things are not missed by you. Which reaction is suitable to prepare an ether? Such a question could be asked in the exam. So if you don't know that a tertiary alkyl halide does not give Williamson synthesis, you may end up getting a wrong answer, or you may end up marking something which is just a guesswork. So just don't let it be a guesswork. Be thorough and then you mark the answer. And then there are some reactions shown by ethers. Again, they are electrophilic aromatic substitution if I talk about the aromatic ethers, right? So any aromatic ether will undergo electrophilic aromatic substitution. So you can go through that part. That is the last part of the chapter. So in this way you can finish alcohols, phenols and ethers. Last but not the least, if you talk about the tests, or if I talk about the reactions to identify primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols, then you should focus on Lucas test. It's a small paragraph given in NCERT though, but it's very important. They may ask you a question like this: which of the following alcohols will produce turbidity in Lucas test immediately? Or which of the following alcohols will not produce turbidity at room temperature? So in that way you will come to know whether the question is talking about a primary alcohol or a secondary alcohol or a tertiary alcohol. So Lucas test is extremely important. So just remember what the results of Lucas test are. As I said, you need not know the detailed mechanism, but you should know that a primary alcohol in Lucas test is not that effective because it does not produce a turbidity at room temperature. And a secondary alcohol will react with Lucas reagent and form turbidity maybe in 5 to 10 minutes, and a tertiary alcohol on being treated with Lucas reagent will form turbidity instantly. So these things should be known, the observations should be clear, right? Turbidity is also called cloudiness, just for your information, in case they use this term. Fine. So distinction of primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols is important, and for that we use Lucas test if we are talking about NCERT level stuff. Right? Next chapter is biomolecules. Now this is a theoretical chapter. Although it is of organic chemistry, but it has certain amount of biology linked to it. So it may be a little boring for some of you, but still there's an option. So I recommend you to start studying carbohydrates first. You may feel that carbohydrates is little more interesting than proteins. So carbohydrates you can start with, and when you are doing carbohydrates, focus on the structure of glucose, the structure of fructose, and all the reactions which are shown by glucose, right? They may ask you direct questions based on reactions of glucose. For example, which product is formed when glucose is oxidized using nitric acid or something of that sort, right? So ensure that you know all the reactions shown by glucose. Structures of glucose are extremely important. Although you will not be required to draw the structure, but they may give a structure in the exam and they may ask you to identify the correct structure. Let's say if there are 4 structures given and they ask you to identify the correct structure. Unless you know what the actual structure is, you will not be able to mark the option, right? So structures of glucose are important. Cyclic structures and Fischer projections are important for both glucose and fructose. Ensure that you know about alpha and beta forms, right? Alpha and beta forms of glucose are anomers of each other. Similarly, alpha and beta forms of fructose are also anomers of each other. These terms are important. They may ask you, what is the relationship between alpha and beta forms of glucose? What is the relationship between alpha and beta forms of fructose? Correct? So structures are important. Unless you know the structures of glucose and fructose, you won't be able to successfully complete carbohydrates. Fine. Proteins. Now in proteins, you should first start with the amino acids, right? You should know what amino acids are. Some basic amino acids you have to know, for example, glycine, alanine, right? Leucine, all these basic ones, phenylalanine. Some 5 to 6 amino acids you must know. So there is a list of amino acids. I mean, a table is given in NCERT. Go through that table because you should know examples of at least 5 different types of alpha amino acids. Please learn 5 to 6 examples of alpha amino acids. Okay, the first 3 you have to know, I mean the first 3 which are given in the table, and after those 3 also you can just randomly memorize 3 more, right? But you should know 6 examples. Don't ignore the names of the alpha amino acids. And then coming to the proteins, how are proteins formed? What is a peptide linkage, right? A peptide linkage is a amide linkage basically, right? It's an amide linkage that is connecting two alpha amino acids. So you should know what are peptide linkages and how many peptide linkages are there if, let's say, 2 alpha amino acids combine, right? There is only one peptide linkage formed if 2 alpha amino acids combine. Similarly, how many peptide linkages or amide linkages are formed when 3 alpha amino acids combine? So such questions can be asked. Then proteins. The structures of proteins you have to focus on. Look at the coiled structures, I mean the diagrams which are given in the textbook. Primary structure deals with the sequence, right? Sequence of the amino acids which are there in the protein. Then you have secondary structure, you have tertiary structure, you have quaternary structure. So just have a look at the different diagrams which are illustrating the structures of proteins, because there are 4 different categories of structures of proteins described in the textbook. All structures should be thoroughly studied. Primary is easy because primary just deals with the sequence, but focus on secondary, tertiary, because sometimes they ask you what is this structure, if they give you a diagram and ask, right? So just go through the diagrams given in the textbook for secondary, tertiary and quaternary structures of proteins. And one definition also you should know, what is denaturation of proteins. That example of coagulation of egg, right? When egg is boiled, that's a very common example of denaturation of proteins. Go through that example, it's given, right? So ensure that you know these things. And then the last part of the chapter deals with the nucleic acids. DNA and RNA both you should know. Now what you should know from DNA and RNA? Okay, you should know the components present, right? You should know the full forms. You should know what are the different bases present in DNA, what are the different bases present in RNA, which base is not present in DNA, which base is not present in RNA. Such a question can also be asked, right? Which base is not present? Read the question carefully, because in a hurry you read it as which base is present. So that's the mistake again, if you read it as which base is present, whereas the actual question is which base is not present, right? So ensure that you read each and every question very carefully. So the types of bases, the sugar, the phosphate linkages. So basically DNA and RNA are extremely important if I talk about the nucleic acids. Both DNA and RNA are equally important. Don't focus on only DNA. Focus on RNA also, right? So first, when you start studying the chapter, do carbohydrates. After carbohydrates, you come to amino acids. After amino acids, you come to proteins. And after proteins, you go to DNA and RNA. अब practice कहाँ से करना है? This is a very common question. कि कहाँ से मैं practice करूँ? A student may ask. So practice के लिए एक तो देखो MCQs के लिए you may have fingertips, right? Fingertips वाला जो है आपका, और the best way to practice is to go through all the in-text questions given in NCERT. In-text questions जितने भी हैं वो आप कर लो. Especially reaction based questions जो हैं लिख के practice करो. Unless you write, as I said, you won't be able to retain for a very long time. जितने reactions से एक बार लिख लो सारे reactions, ठीक है? And for biomolecules, if you don't feel comfortable just looking at the structures, you may make the structures with hand. Like you can use a pen and you can literally draw the cyclic structures of glucose and fructose. And also you may draw the Fischer projections. तो उससे भी आपको एक practice आ जाएगा. एक बार pen and paper का use करके ना सारे structures आप carbohydrates के draw कर लो. वैसे ज़्यादा तो है नहीं, सिर्फ glucose और fructose ही है. Correct? It will be easier for you to retain in the long run. Okay. So all the best for your preparation. You will do well, I'm sure. Okay. Thank you.